Nancy basically put us all to shame this week. She is
So
killing it.
Hold on. Hold the phone.
I'm going to take myself off video because I have
No,
really bad.
no. You got to stay on video for this one. You look amazing. You look great. No, you look freaking banging. Please break down what you just did again. You've sold what?
So I have a very unique situation in that my studio is at a very exclusive private clothing optional resort. So to get people to come to me, I have my challenges. I was selling onesie, twosies, maybe a 3-pack, the most a 5-pack, but they were all friends and people I knew. I started with you guys a week ago, and now I'm talking to people I don't know, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I took Connor's presentation and I took a lot of what you guys have taught me this last week, which is don't even talk about anything under a 10-pack. I put it into an online presentation. When I call people, I tell them we're going to do your consultation over Zoom because I'm 30 minutes out of town at this private resort. I'm not going to have people come out here if they're not committed. And I go through a 15-minute presentation and bam, I sold 3 10-packs yesterday morning before 1 o'clock and one just this morning right before this call. All over Zoom. I love it. I couldn't be happier. So that's it.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
I have so many freaking questions and I really don't know where to begin. The first thing I got to do is Patrice James is like, right? This is freaking amazing. So I am definitely going to just send an invitation to everybody else who is not yet on this call. Steph, what we should do is we should, I just have so many questions right now. We should also do a blast in high level. If you want to just go in, Steph, and do it to the best of your ability, I'm sure that the tag for active isn't going to be 100% accurate. Just go set one up and say, we're on the call right now. Nancy just sold like 4 10-packs in the last 24 hours. Like, you really need to hop on and listen on this, all via Zoom.
Okay.
I'm going to add one.
Go for it. Add as much as you'd like.
First 10-pack. So I started with you guys last Monday. My ads went live, I don't know, maybe Monday or Tuesday. I started getting calls on Wednesday and Thursday, but I didn't have my act together because I didn't know what I was doing with this idea of doing a Zoom consultation, and I was just burning through those leads. I got my act together after Wednesday's call last week, and my calendar filled up Friday and Saturday with a Zoom consultation. So I sold my first 10-pack last Thursday, just 4 days after going live, and she showed up for her first appointment on Saturday. So this is actually 5 10-packs in the last 10 days.
5 10-packs in 10 days?
Yes. Thank you so much. You guys changed my life. I'm retiring my husband.
You started working with us and you're going to retire your husband after selling 5 10-packs in 5 days? Well,
oh, no, you don't understand. I still have probably, this is a day and a half into this week. I still have about 20 Zoom calls scheduled for the rest of this week. So I'm just getting started.
What the heck do we need to do to get more people showing up to these freaking calls? I tell you all, there is knowledge being dropped here. There's freaking amazing stuff. Darlene, you look awesome with that new hair, by the way. That looks great. I'm going to mute you really quick, but thank you for joining in on this too. Okay, Nancy, I think you've blown all of our minds. Do you have the next hour free? Are you going to be on here for this whole call? Okay. I would like to start with number 1. We linearly solve problems and then expose problems. I think it's an extreme challenge for us to learn how to sell via Zoom the way you are doing, but we're definitely going to pick your brain on that. Very first thing we want to figure out is what has been going so well to get 20 appointments on the calendar in however many days that you've been live with us. And it seems like you've got way more than 20 appointments on the calendar because you've already sold 5-10 packs in 5 days. And you said those 20 appointments are all Zoom appointments scheduled for the rest of this week, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What is working so well to get people scheduled right now?
So getting them to show up to the Zoom meeting is a challenge. But I'm using, and I don't even really know what I'm doing with high level. I have a list of questions for Mary a mile long on how to get that to work. But I love the idea of show me, don't tell me. So I used to be a Pilates instructor, and we had a program for getting people into the Pilates studio, which was a triple hitter, where when we got a lead, we sent them a text, we sent them an email, we gave them a phone call, all in the same day. Now, we don't want to pester people, but you've got to touch people over and over. So I go through every single lead, and I look somewhere in high level, and I'm too new to tell you where it is. It can tell me how many hours or days it's been since I've communicated with somebody. And that's all I'm doing right now, is just going through those leads and trying to touch them, sending them pictures. I've got it on my phone, and I've got it on my iPad, and I'm just following up with them over and over and over again. So they're hearing from me every day, because that's what you guys did to me to get me to come to a patient rhino meeting. You guys just kept communicating with me, and I do more than just the automation. And I went in and changed some of those automated messages to fit that it's a Zoom meeting consultation. I think that people appreciate that it's a Zoom meeting. I live in California. We are on full lockdown. So people don't want to go anywhere. They're 95% feral now. They're not even used to getting out. So when they know that all they have to do is come to a Zoom meeting, and that I'm going to give them everything that they need to make an informed decision, and I tell them I'm confident I can help them, I come with the energy. And my thing is over deliver. So that's what I try to do. And it is a challenge. Getting them to show up is a challenge. So if they show up, I've only had 2 people on a Zoom call tell me no. That's it. Other than that, everyone says, I love this, let's do it.
Yo, everybody, throw a 9 in the chat if you appreciate Nancy for breaking down what the heck she is doing to get appointments on the calendar, number one. Because number one, the thing that I want to make really clear is you don't even get the opportunity to sell to some Valia's like, I am salivating over this, just like I am too. Dave, throw the hands up in the air. That's awesome. Dude, there's a lot of, my mind is just racing right now. So first thing, do I have your permission to pull up your high level just to see what some of the messages and those sequences are looking like, Nancy?
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to ask, remind me again, what's the name of your office?
Chill Cryo Co.
Okay, one second. So she's out in Sacramento. I know that Melissa Jaka and her team are on here. What's up, Best Performance Team? Who else is out on the West Coast? Who else is in California? Lauren is on here. Karina, obviously, and Matt are on here. Patrice is on here. David is on here. Oh, yeah, cool. Nice. So let me go ahead and just pull up a handful of conversations. Nancy, who's somebody who has closed on a 10-pack in the last 5 days? I'm going to try to pull up their conversation and then just
Sure.
Yeah.
Go to her name is Jasmine, but it's Jazmyne. I have a couple of Jasmines.
Cool. I got it pulled up on here. What I'm going to try to be better at is I need to make sure that I'm trying to hide as much sensitive information as possible on these so that I can actually record the calls and then share them after the calls. So we are going to see Jasmine's last name. Is that okay on this?
I think so, but there is a lot of personal information in here because I told you I live at a private resort.
Yeah, I'm actually reading through it and I don't feel comfortable sharing the screen on this one. But what I am going to do is I'm going to grab a screenshot of the messages that Nancy has been sending. And I'm actually not going to do that because they're literally the exact templates that we have in our system. So what she has been doing and what she's been doing an amazing job of is literally just running the play. So this very first template is we had some tremendous success with this area. So I see her sending a lot of that one. Nancy, has that been the most common message that you've been sending to get people's attention before they actually move to getting an appointment scheduled?
No, I'm playing with everything. I'm just in pictures. I try to personalize it with my own, just like they're my friend. So another person maybe is better for you to share is Sahery, Sahery.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'm pulling up hers right here.
There's nothing personal. So I sold her yesterday morning and there's nothing personal in here.
Got you. Okay, cool. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post screen grabs on a separate document so I can just white out stuff or red out stuff that's pretty sensitive. So first off, huge shout out to everybody else who just hopped on here. Al, great to see you on here, man. Nancy sold 10 packs in the last 5 days. So I think everybody is super excited to hear from her. So we're probably going to spend as much time as we possibly can picking her brain today. I'm going to be grabbing screenshots of the messages that she's been sending. It's pretty consistent with the messages that we are already loading in as templates into high level. So here's what I'm going to start with. So if everybody can confirm they can see my screen, I want to ask, can everybody just throw a 7 in the chat if they confirm that they see my screen right here? So again, to this point, nothing complex or nothing out of the ordinary. What Nancy is doing and is doing an amazing job of is just personalizing her follow-up in addition to the templated messages that she is sending out here. I'm going to try my best to document as much of this as possible. And then in the call recap, what I will do is I will put those screenshots together with like sensitive information, like whited out so that nobody gets upset that I'm sharing that publicly. Is everybody cool with that? I will try to spend most of this call just picking Nancy's brain, and then I will share screenshots of things that are relevant but are whited out of like sensitive information after the call because it's too much for me to try to do that during. Can everybody throw 2 thumbs up into the mix if they're happy with that one? Cool. I see a lot of thumbs on there. Awesome. This is great engagement. Nancy, what do you think has been the biggest well, who has questions for how she's getting people scheduled? I want to linearly go through this. So I think Eileen just raised her hand. You can just take yourself off mute and ask. So are these people all scheduling over the phone? Are they scheduling via text? What's your process like right now?
You're asking me how they're scheduling?
Yep.
So half of my leads are doing a schedule request and half of them are just leads. Mm-hmm. So I call everyone immediately and I tell them, because usually their request doesn't work, but if it does work, then I just send through a confirmation, but I notice there's no pictures on those. Mm-hmm. So I always follow up with more pictures because they've got to see pictures. And I know this isn't part of your question, but that's a big part of my closing is in my slide presentation. When I'm sharing my screen, I take them out of that presentation and I have a folder for pictures and I'm just showing them picture after picture after picture. And because I'm on Zoom with them, if they're a trim fit person, I'm guiding them to trim fit pictures before and afters. If they're a really heavy person, I'm guiding them to before and afters of those people so that they can relate to it. I think that's really important that they relate to the pictures as well as the message. So I know I got a little off track, sorry.
We'll get into the Zoom consult process after we figure out what you're doing to schedule, because otherwise, we know how it is. Like you hear somebody having success, they're like, what are you doing during the consult? It's literally everything that leads up to the consult. Like if you do everything else right, you can sell people on Zoom. When Nancy breaks down what she's doing to sell on Zoom, it's not going to be earth shattering and you're going to be slightly disappointed. You'll maybe take some nuggets away, but it's literally everything else leading up to the call. You're pre-selling people with the show me, don't tell me method. So Karina, go ahead as I just try and document some of the other things that Nancy said on here.
Well, congratulations, Nancy. First, well, I'm super excited that like every time we learn something. And I have a question. You said that you kind of like sending pictures accordingly to their body. How do you know how they look? How do you know how? Because so far I don't have any pictures when they go to the lead. So do you request some pictures to see? Is this prior? You say that you're sending these pictures, trying to be more to their type of body or their needs, right? So how do you get to this information?
So I'm making a lot of assumptions because 9 out of 10 people don't like their stomach, even men. So when I'm sending the pictures from the templates, I'm pulling those pictures. I've taken screenshots and I've made sure that they look good if I just add them. This system allows me to add pictures out of my own library. So I'm assuming everybody has a stomach issue. And if they don't have a stomach issue, then, you know, I don't know, they're still going to relate to a stomach picture. So I just make that.
I just had that question because you mentioned that you said that if they were kind of slimmer, then you send more like pictures to their body type, and then if they're not, you send a different. So I was thinking, how do you get to that? Because that would be wonderful. But
no, that's during my consultation.
Oh, okay.
In my consultation, I'm showing them lots and lots of visual pictures, and I'm guiding them to the album that has pictures of slimmer bodies or bigger bodies, because I'm on Zoom with them. I already know what they look like.
Okay.
Nancy, when you say that you're sending pictures via the beginning the conversation, are you sending, how many pictures on average are you sending? And did you say you take a screenshot and kind of put them all together? Because I noticed when Nick pulled it up, it looked like more than just one picture. Are you sending one person's transformation or three people?
I'm sending 3. I try to send anywhere from 1 to 3 pictures. I figure if they don't like it, they can block me. But here's my mentality, and I think this is really important for us to remember. Every single person that has seen our ad, they have taken the time to add their name, their email address, and their phone number, because in their mind, they need us. They oftentimes totally forget that they did that 3 seconds later, but I already know that they have a soft spot. I already know they have a weakness, and I know that they need me. I already know that. So now I approach them with that energy. You need me. I'm going to show you how I can help you. So I think it all actually starts with the way we think about what we're doing.
I got to chime in there. When people raise their hand and say, yes, here's my name, phone, and email, be on a mission to help them. It's like Nancy said it, like we hounded her to get her on a Zoom call with us. But look where she's at now. Like we know, we believe in, and we stand behind our system if you make it work for you. If you bring that level of energy and dedication to your follow-up, you will make crazy transformations like the one Nancy did. By the way, Nancy, before we launched with you, where were you at in terms of Cryoskin sales the last like 30 days? I mean, you just got started, right?
Well, I'm going to be really honest. I told you I live at a clothing optional resort, and my studio is in my house. So I have a lot of, difficulty in presenting to the public, but people care what they look like when they're naked. So all of my clientele were friends and people I've known because I've lived here a long time. And I was really busy this summer because, people are here this summer and they are naked this summer. Then when September or late September, early October rolled around, it plummeted to next to nothing. Like I had my regular friends coming, so I was like under $1,000 retail, revenue every month. And it was okay with me because I'm home, I'm not going anywhere, and I didn't really care. But I thought, shoot, I bought this darn machine and I know people need this. I want to venture out there. So my idea was to go mobile and go to people's homes. But I've noticed in this marketing you're doing, when I bring that up with people, they don't want me to go to their house. They're more than willing to drive 30 minutes to my private resort and come see me in my home. So yeah, I wasn't doing very well. I wasn't doing anything.
So
I went from
Andres,
0 to 60.
holy cow. Yeah, this is amazing. So Andres, to answer your question directly, I'm looking at her messages. Again, for everybody who joined late, I'm no longer sharing our screen doing the high-level messaging outreach because I do record the call and then I can't upload that portion of the recording. So I'm just going to be sure not to share my screen when I do that ongoing. But the thing that I want to make really clear is she is using the templates that we've already got, Andres. So they're all in your account. The only thing that is different is I think it's literally only one of them that she's almost rarely sending that she created and added in her own before and after photo of. So for everybody who's asking, what is she doing that's different? It's almost nothing different. That's what I really want to reinforce. So you can't come with the excuse of, hey, can I get the templates that Nancy's using? Congratulations, you already have them. So that's the very first thing I wanted to make really clear.
Right.
Biggest takeaways before I start sharing my screen once again were, again, Alice and Tanisha are on here and they're going to echo this. Everybody who's consistently selling 10 and 20 packs every single week is going to echo this. It's just the duration of time between them raising their hand and saying, yes, I'm interested, and your follow-up. Again, I am looking through Nancy's system. There's a before and after photo going out very, very quickly to a lot of these people. And sometimes it is taking multiple photos. Again, I'm just looking through everybody in here. She gave me like 4 or 5 names of people who did recently close. It's exactly what we've been preaching from every single coaching call that we get on. Does anybody else want to really dive deep on what is Nancy doing well to get appointments on the calendar? Does anybody else have questions? I'm going to mute everybody just because I know there were a lot of other people that joined. And feel free to go ahead and just take yourself off mute when you do get on here. But I'm just going to try to keep it as quiet as possible because a bunch of people just joined. Anybody else? Questions specifically on how we're getting people scheduled? Go ahead, Tanisha.
Well, I don't necessarily have a question. First of all, I just want to congratulate Nancy on what you're doing. It's fantastic. I like the fact that you're using Zoom, to pivot and also get people, because sometimes that is their issue. And so if we can create roadblocks like that, that's perfect. And, cater to our people and listen to what they're saying. If it's, oh, I'm at home with my kids. We say, all right, if I send you a Zoom link, would you have time to just meet with me for, 10, 20 minutes? And fantastic. And just long as you're getting in front of them, once you get in front of them, and then also, because just like you said, Nancy, they want us, they need us. And guess what? We can create results. So we literally have something that is phenomenal. It works. And it's just about relaying to them that if they link arms with us, they listen to us and go by the recommendations that we have for them, they will get from here to here. And when they hear that, they're like, okay, what, what's next? Fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is amazing. And then I know it's going to get crazy when people ask, well, what are you doing on the Zoom call? So I'm waiting until we get to that moment. But I just want to confirm that everybody is on the same page so that when you leave this call today, you understand the process that she's following is almost identical to what our other top performing offices are. I'm not sharing my screen. She's literally just running the show me, don't tell me approach. Do you feel that there's anything else, Nancy, that is completely different or out of the ordinary from anything else that we say on these calls?
No, I didn't know anything different. I'm too new to do anything better than what you're telling me to do. So I'm just following your lead and your advice and the people's advice on these Zoom calls that you guys provide. I went, ooh, that makes sense. Ooh, I want to do that. I'm going to try this.
That is amazing. And Connor, I know you joined late. Nancy, 10 packs sold in the last 5 days, all on Zoom. She's got 20 scheduled Zoom calls. And she says that she's actually using your presentation on those calls, correct?
Yeah, we spoke 3 days ago, maybe. So we got it cooking here. We're good.
Oh, snap. A little Connor sauce in the mix. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now that Connor's on here, well, let's dive in, Nancy, to what's going really well once you get them on a Zoom call. So for everybody who's going to take themselves off mute and ask a lot of questions, I can anticipate that a lot of these principles are going to be applicable to the consult process, whether that person is face-to-face with you or they're on a Zoom call just like this. So again, I know a lot of you are going to get crazy ideas. Please keep in mind, keep it simple. And with that, Nancy, what are you doing that's working really well on the Zoom calls? How do they start? When you get somebody on a Zoom call, what does the flow of the consult look like? I think that's probably what everybody wants to understand right now.
Right. Well, first of all, I have to thank Connor because he shared his presentation. I saw it on Facebook. I sent Mary a message. I said, can I have that, please? I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So I took all of those screenshots and I put them into GoodNotes. And what I like about GoodNotes is that I do it on my iPad. I can actually draw on those screenshots and do kind of an interactive sort of presentation. So the start of the call is always just a nice greeting. How are you? The only thing I ask them right up front is I ask them, do you mind if I ask how old you are? I want to know that. And then Connor, and I didn't have time to learn your verbal presentation. So I just took your visual presentation. I made it my own. But there were 3 things that Connor asked in the very beginning. And I do this too. I asked them, what are you wanting to transform? After I asked their age, what is it you want to transform? And then I want to know, what are you doing to make that happen? And then I also tell them, I want to be really transparent and give you clear expectations. So this is not something that you get to go do. It's not like you go in the gym and then you walk out and you go have tacos and margaritas. I'm going to marry in with what you're already doing, and I'm going to accelerate your results. So I make that really clear. And then the third thing I ask them is, if you keep doing just what you're doing right now, how long do you think it's going to take you to reach your goal? And that's usually when they say, I'm never going to reach my goal because I'm not really committed or whatever. Then that's where they tell me their story. Then I ask them, can I share my screen with you? And when I share my screen, I share that visual Connor's presentation. I go through those 6 steps, and I also do what he said, where he says, there's these 6 steps. I'm going to answer all of your questions, but before I start, do you have any questions? And he's right. The first person to talk is the one, who loses. So then I go through that whole presentation, but where I stop and I deviate from Connor's is when it comes to results. I say, okay, I'm going to log out of this. I take myself out of my GoodNotes presentation and I go to my pictures. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of before and after pictures. I've taken them from every Cryoskin, company that's put them out there on the internet. This is exactly what I follow. So it's about go up. It's at the results. So, see, I changed this around a little bit. Down, down, down. So I made a copy here.
Right here, slide 16.
Yeah,
I
slide
put-
16's results. Yep.
I put these results before the intervals. I just changed some things around a little bit. So I get to the results after I show them these pictures. I'm really clear with people. I say, this person did not get this result with just slimming. They need to interval slimming and toning. And since you can only slim every 2 weeks, you need to be toning the time in between there. So even though you see these people have maybe 4 to 6 slimming sessions, they really had 10 sessions total because they had to tone in between there. So I don't even offer anything under a 10 pack. So we're going to start with a 10 pack. That way I know you are going to get the results that you want. Now, when you have that 10 pack, you're not stuck in just one area. So if we can get your stomach exactly where you want it to be in 6 sessions, we're going to take those other 4 sessions and we're going to start somewhere else. So you're always going to utilize that 10 pack. Even if you don't have another area, we're going to use it for maintenance. So you will never waste a 10 pack, but it's the minimum I'll do. And then I tell them, then I go into what that costs. But I always start at the high end. I tell them a session is $350. You looked at the Facebook presentation, said $100 off, so that's $250 a session, or we have this special. So I always start with the biggest amount. It kind of scares them. And then when I bring them down to where it's actually reasonable, then they're like, this sounds great. Yeah, they can't even imagine doing anything other than a 10 pack at that point, because why would they spend $350 for one session? And I tell them, you're not going to like your results. You'll like your results in one session, but you're not going to get where you want to be. So I don't even really offer a single session. I did plenty of that this summer, and I had people going, oh, that doesn't work. It's like, it works just fine, but you did one session. Like, you don't go to the gym one time and walk out and look like you're supposed to look. So anyway, there's my presentation. That's it.
I think that's a really good point you brought up there too about transactionalizing care, right? A lot of people will look at the care that you have based on the way that you sell it to them, right? If you sell visit to visit, they're going to expect results visit to visit. If you sell block to block or pack to pack, you're going to get results pack to pack. Because at the end of the day, like we're coming up on January, right? 90% of America is going to buy a gym membership, and then they're all going to stop doing it after 1 month and say it didn't work, right? Because they weren't committed to the process, and because they weren't financially invested, they didn't get the result they're looking for, right? So I always remind people, like, those who pay attention, and I need you to be invested not only financially, but also on your time and your energy and your effort, right? Because all 3 of those things are required. And if you're not willing to give us all 3, then, there's the door, you can leave. Because at the end of the day, you giving me X amount of dollars, but then eating a cheeseburger every day, you're just wasting your time, and it would be unethical for me to take that money from you and then deliver a subpar result, right? So I think your point's absolutely correct. Sell the block of care, don't transactionalize care, have a good price point associated with it, and then set it up where, like, listen, if we get done at 6 visits in one area, we're not cutting the plan short. We're just going to go somewhere else and improve that, because everybody can improve somewhere. So I like all those points that you went through in the presentation.
Well, I learned it from you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. You think it's me, but I bring this point up to everybody that I talk to one-on-one or even in the group setting. There's nothing special about what I'm doing. I'm taking the concepts in the sales process from what everybody's looking for, right? On the client side, and putting it into a presentation or putting it into a word track or putting it into a sales process that makes sense so that they're willing to shorten the gap of knowledge and buy, right? The only difference between what I'm doing and maybe what some of the other people are doing on the call is I'm good at communicating that process. And for all of you, I don't have any more tools than you, right? Like, you asked for a presentation. I put together a presentation that made sense for this particular. I don't even sell Cryoskin. I sell sculpture, right? That's our core service. But I can understand the fundamentals at every single level, put together a presentation, and all of you should be thinking that way. because that's the most important piece. Is it's not about who's got the perfect script or the perfect text or the perfect exact follow-up or the perfect voicemail or the perfect presentation. It's not about that. It's about having the fundamental skills that you're going to develop over a 3 to 6 month period of time within the program to be able to sell better and come up with a common goal and a common outcome and work through with the patients to get the results they're looking for. Nobody's changing their business in the next 20 to 25 days. It's just not possible. You need to be thinking long-term. And I think, Nancy, what you did is you just jumped in. You just kind of went right into the process. And ultimately what that led to is results. So I appreciate that you think it had something to do with me, but really it didn't. It had to do with the fact that you just kind of followed the play and made it happen. Right. So that's kind of my 2 cents in this process.
Yeah, Nancy. I think it's great what you're doing. You're following that Dr. Connor presentation. I'm doing that also. I guess my biggest, I think everybody's biggest stumbling block for my clients at least is when we get to the price point. So I know that you talked about the first session is $350. We do that also. Talk about a little bit about your specials. Like you said, $100 off. Are you offering off $100 off every session, or what's your 10-pack look like? And do you offer any sort of payment plans, or are you asking for the money all up front?
Well, so what I do tell them is that through the month of December, I will honor $100 off each session, but I don't really talk too much about that. And if I have to, as far as payment plans, I've had to offer that twice. I let them pay half of that on their first session and the other half on their third session. That's as lenient as I'm going to get with somebody, because I feel like they're still pretty heavily invested after, for those first 2 sessions. So, I think when you've created the need, people are going to buy whatever your price is. Like, we're just not that expensive. And I do talk a little bit in my presentation about, have you ever tried cool sculpting? Have you looked into that? Have you looked into liposuction? I personally have done liposuction. I know the pain of that. I can talk about those things. So we're talking thousands of dollars, and I'm sort of dropping those kind of price points into the conversation. If you want to accelerate your results, you've got choices, but what are you going to, you're going to pay for them too. And so I don't think that the price point has been an issue at all, except for those people that needed to make a payment plan.
I think that brings up a very valid point, right? I think everybody on this call can align with this. When was the time that the cheapest thing you bought was the best ever?
Never.
It's never been the case, right? No one's like, oh my God, I spent so little. This was the best thing out here, right? It just doesn't happen. So at the end of the day, the same thing applies with the kind of care that you're providing, right? It can either be the best or the cheapest, but it can't be both. And if you want an actual result, you got to pay up. You got to invest not just the finances, but also the time, energy, and effort on the backside, because that's what it's going to take. So for the question, who asked the original question again about getting to price and getting stuck there?
Oh, that was me, Andres.
Oh yeah. So, okay. So when are you getting stuck in that price point? Like, let's talk about that real briefly. I don't want to get too much off the train of this call, but are you pitching price at the end and then they're just, what happens next?
So yeah, I asked them, all right, so the next step is, when would you like to get started? And, how do you want to take care of this payment? Now, I'm not sure if it's just my area or if it's that I need to kind of add a little bit more value to them with before and after pictures. I see that Nancy's showing a lot more of those. I need to get better at that. But usually most of the time the ladies are like, I can put $500 down.
Sure. So I don't think it's going to be just pictures, right? Again, this kind of comes back to that. The recipe for success here is not like one thing. It's not just the pictures, and it's not just the sales process, and it's not just the pre-consult, and it's not just the quality of the lead. It's a combination of things. But I can tell you that a bad lead with a good sales process is a lot better than a really good lead with a bad sales process, right? The sales process is everything, which includes the phone call in the pre-consult in the consult. So really at the end of the day, the way that I would say it is like, listen, there's only two ways that we do this program, right? It's 10 visits, right? And for 10 visits, what you're looking at is $2,500. We have two options. We got $2,500 pay in full today, or we got $1,250, which is a split pay. You're going to pay once on visit 1 and once on visit 6. Which one of those two is going to work better for you today? Right? You're nodding, and I haven't even really done anything yet. Right? Like you're agreeing because you know what I'm saying is right. That's all you got to do. But you just have to have the conviction associated with the price points, right? You're not asking, you need to reframe the question away from, do you want to buy or do you not want to buy? And you want to change that into, do you want to pay in full or do you want to split pay? That's the decision they're making. They are not making a decision on whether they're signing up or not. They're making a decision on terms. And for you, you can set your rules in your business however you want. Some people say, okay, well, if it's $2,500 pay in full for 10 visits, my split pays $1,500 times 2. I'm going to penalize them for the split pay. If you want to do that, knock yourself out. I don't do that personally. I like to just split it right down the middle and just figure it out. But I'm getting commitment. And to be honest with you, the people who are actually financially qualified are going to prefer the one pay because it's just off their mind. They're going to pay the same amount. You know, most people are operating in a 30-day window with their finances. So for them to pay all today or split pay, visit 1 and visit 6, it almost doesn't matter because it's going to become in the same next 2 billing cycles. They're outflowing the same amount of money both ways. So I would say in general, offering both of those doesn't short yourself at all. Offer the 2 pay and offer the 1 pay, but do it in the opposite order, right? $2,500 1 pay or $1,250 2 pay. Just keep it really simple. That way you can run the numbers in your head. And that's why I've found that most people who present in the sales process get really hung up on the numbers. And it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Make it simple. $2,500 1 pay, $1,250 2 pay. Which one works better? That's it. Oh, I can't do that. There's the door.
How did Giovanni close all of you? What did Giovanni ask? You guys want to do the 2,500 today? Or do you want to just start with the 1,000 and pay the rest later?
He didn't ask me. He asked for 2,500 and I said, here's my credit card.
You made the ask though, right? It's option closing. So you got to give. So people don't like to be sold. People like to feel like they're choosing the solution that makes the most sense. The same thing with the number of sessions in the packages. It's the same thing with the price structure that they get started on, right? We still give you the option to pay in full. But if you don't, do the deposit right now and pay the remainder later. Sam has raised her hand like 4 times.
I only did once.
Oh, okay. I saw the notification like 4 times. I'm just
So I like what Dr. Connor said about the conviction part, because I know when I first started with this, my financial situation personally was very different than what it is now. And so I had a hard time asking for that amount of money because in my mind, that's a lot of money. And I didn't have that much to spend. So I didn't feel comfortable asking for that amount. But I think it's really about the salesperson. If you're not confident in that amount of money or spending that amount of money, you're not going to be confident asking for it. So that was it's definitely like a mental piece for me. Yeah, I don't know. That was just my little 2 cents.
It's a perfect point, right? 90% of the problems that everybody on this call has in the process of selling is that you don't believe that what you're selling your service for is worth it. So you half-ass the sales process. And then they kind of waffle on you and you don't close it. And then they ghost you and then they don't come back, or you do a split pay. And then on visit 6, they just suddenly disappear because you don't believe you're worth the price that you're charging. If you charged what you are worth, no one would be able to afford it. Remember that. If you charged what you were worth, no one would be able to afford it. They just wouldn't. There's no price associated with that. Now, what you're doing is you're matching the value and the cost that they're willing to put out to do it. But at the end of the day, for them to spend $2,500, what's your alternative? Please tell me where you're going to spend $2,500 to get these results. I'll wait. I'll be here all day because you're not going to come up with an answer. Please tell me.
That's a really good point. And I want to say something about that. I think my mentality is that this does work, and it's really worth that amount of money, because in January, I spent over $6,000 for liposuction, and 5 months later, there was no difference. So I know personally what it's like to put out a whole lot of money, and I was willing to do it. I can't say liposuction doesn't work. I didn't work. And I make that point when I'm talking to people about the process of Cryoskin, that it is a process, and I'm marrying in with them and what they're doing. And that's really important for them to get the results that they want. It's not fair of me to look back and go, liposuction doesn't work. I spent, thousands and thousands of dollars and it doesn't work. It does work. So it's the same thing with this, but because I have that mentality and I've spent that kind of money, this is a very, very inexpensive way to get results that work, that aren't painful, that aren't so expensive. And you're going to see it as you go. You're not going to have to wait 4 months for it. So you said something about knowing and believing in what we have and the value of what we have. And it really is a very affordable option for people. And when you truly believe that, you're going to come through with that conviction.
This is literally what I am training our new Giovanni. His name is Donovan. They're actually both like best friends. There's now a second Giovanni. This is literally what he and I spent 1 hour on prior to this call, because his tonality right now, he is getting on sales calls with prospective patient rhino clients of ours, other Cryoskin providers like you. And he is saying things in a way where people can immediately detect he is not 100% confident in what he's saying. And in this masterclass that I paid money for, and now I'm sharing the data with Giovanni, and now I'm sharing it with all of you, is my favorite takeaway from that call. And I literally have the notes right in front of me. Humans are incongruency detecting machines. I'm going to say it 3 times. Humans are incongruency detecting machines. Humans are incongruency detecting machines. Humans are incongruency detecting machines. What that means is congruency, as it's defined in this context, is, does Nancy 100% believe what she's actually saying? And can I, this incongruency detector, determine where's the gap? Because I'm looking for it. And we just naturally do that. That's literally how we survive. Something in my environment seems off, and then I clench up and I tense up because it's my natural reactive defensive state. Same thing happens in sales, right? Imagine how much I believe in the show me, don't tell me approach. When I hop on these calls, how much out of a scale of 0 to 100, how much do you believe that I believe in that process? Just throw a number out there. Karina says 2 thumbs up. It's 3 thumbs up. I've got more fingers and more hands that you don't even know about, right? The only reason, the only way people are going to hop on a call like this, listen to somebody who's never stepped foot in a single Cryoskin office. I do go to a massage therapist out here in Denver, and she's got Cryoskin. She's awesome. She's going to get started with our program too. But somebody who's literally never stepped foot in an office, in a medical spa, and sold on their behalf, and is here saying, use the show me, don't tell me play. The only way you're going to take that advice from somebody who's never set foot in a spa is if that person gets on a call like this and screams at the top of his lungs, show me, don't freaking tell me, just do it, right? I'm reselling you all on the process of what it takes to actually get results. And the only way it's going to happen consistently is if other people come on the call, back up the process like Nancy, and say, hey, I did what Connor told me and it worked. Hey, I ran the show me, don't tell me play and it worked. Samantha comes on here and says, hey, I tripled my business, or more than that. I don't even know what the actual numbers were, but I did 27 grand in sales in a month when my goal was 10K in a single month. I just did it and it worked. It takes this insanely high level of congruence, this unwavering belief that what you have is going to be that thing that these people need. Price doesn't become an issue when they've seen the results and seen the proof that you provide, that other people have gotten results with your system in the past. It's literally no different than the process that we run closing people into our patient rhino program. You've seen the testimonials. Some of you probably still see the testimonials. I still retarget you. You know why? Because some of you want to drop off after 30 days. If Sam would have done that, she wouldn't be here today.
True.
I don't know what else to say. I hope everybody's getting value out of this call. Throw a 7 if you're getting value out of this call. Throw a 6 if you want Nancy to stay on for another 10 minutes and answer more questions. And we'll see if she's got time. I should be seeing a lot of 7s and 6s, hopefully. Anybody else have another question? I'm going to try muting everybody once again. Corinne, I see you asking if you can take yourself off mute. Just go for it. Yeah, let's dive in.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say that I mean, like you said, everybody should be in these phone calls, and if they're not, it's because they're not. Well, some of them they can, right? But I'm just seeing the value every single time. And Connor, thank you so much, because you're selling yourself short what you're doing. You're helping people one-on-one, and I actually, I just want to say a quick success, because I'm so excited about Nancy, because I'm just gonna do what she's doing, and I know I'm gonna have better successes. But I just did what Connor was saying in the last call, and I saw a 5-pack, and it's funny because the first time I saw a 3-pack, and Connor said, well, the reason you're selling a 3-pack is because you give him the option of 3-pack. So I'm giving the option of 5 and 10. So I'm selling a lot of 5s, right? So right now, by Nancy's experiences, I'm super excited, because I'm not going to offer 5-packs, because it's true. I mean, go to the gym 5 times, go to the gym 1 month, 2 months. You're not going to see the results that you want if you really want to lose 20 pounds. And I'm a personal trainer, right? So it's kind of like, hello. Yesterday I had my first session, well, 2 of my first sessions that I sold last week. And I upgraded for 10 sessions yesterday, because I said, I'm sorry, but you are going to need 10 sessions. I just need to do a slimming and toning if you really want to see results. And she says, yes, I may. And she didn't even hesitate, because she just did it right after I finished the first session, and I ended up selling other services, microblading and stuff, so it was just very, very exciting. And I actually applied because I had some surgeries as well. And this guy said on Saturday, you know what, this is kind of pricey. I said, no, it's not. You want to go and get those results and take some downtime from your job and then get liposuction or any other services? I said, be my guest. I said, that's going to take you a lot more, than this is a lot more money and a lot more time. And I said, this is zero downtime. You can keep working, and you're gonna get real results. And that's when he paid the price. He paid the 10-pack, 5 facials and 5 stomachs. So he was excited. So yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for these calls. And I am, every time I apply something, it's happening. So I just was able to, and I have 5 more consultations. I'm not getting a lot more, 20, but I'm getting a lot of consultations. But thank you, Connor. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everybody.
I think there's a huge value point there that you just brought up, which is I've had a lot of conversations one-on-one with people who are on this call and people who are not on this call. And there's this concept of, hey, well, that might be a lot of money, or, hey, I'm trying to make $10,000 in a month. Like, your mindset around what is possible is so bass backwards. It's not even funny, right? Like, people, like, someone will come and say, hey, I'm trying to make $10,000 a month. Try to make like $10,000 a day. Try to create enough value that people are going to be able to do more. Like, don't say, why are you selling yourself short? I understand everyone has to go through a logical progression in their business to make a little bit more. You can't go from, a $4,000 a month business to a $40,000 overnight. But if your goal is that short-sighted, then what are you going to do different today that is going to take you from $10,000 to $12,000 a month? What are you going to do different? There's nothing you're going to do. There is no actionable step that you're going to do in your business that's going to help you go to that next level, because your goal is, the difference between what you have and what you want is not big enough. So when you're setting these goals in the practice, work your backwards math, right? Corinne and I spent an hour on the phone running the backwards math, and it's like, there's nothing special about the math. The goal shouldn't be, how do I get 1 more case a month? The goal should be, how do I get 10 more? How do I take my 10 visit care plan and make it a 20 visit care plan because I reconvert them after the first block of care? How do I charge $300 a visit instead of $250? How do I increase the value of what I'm doing? How do I bundle that care with something else? The question isn't, like, everyone who's asking me, like, how do you do just a little bit more? The question isn't, how do you do a little bit more? It's, how do you do a lot more? And what is the activity that's required every single day? Right? A lot of people on this call who've had one-on-ones have also known that I run a technology company that has nothing to do with healthcare. I built it from nothing. It started on January 1st this year. 0. I'm right there with all of you building a company that has no previous experience growing
You're
that.
back, babe.
It's because the goals that we set are so high and so out of reach that we have no choice but to hit them. And in your business, if it's healthcare or it's any small business or any sales process, your goal needs to be a lot bigger. If you're at 5,000 a month, your goal needs to be 50. Right? There's a lot of people who blow smoke around 10x rule and Grant Cardone. A lot of people don't like him in the process of it. And I'm not saying that he's the best guy out there, but the concept is there. You need to be thinking about how to do way more, not just a little bit more, because there is nothing you are going to do in your business to go from $10,000 to $12,000. Zero. It will never happen. It is actually harder to go from $10,000 to $12,000 than it is to go from 10 to 30. I promise you, because I've done them all. There's nothing you're going to do. So when you set these goals, work the backwards math. If your care plan's worth $2,500, set a goal, work the backwards math, get the consults, and hit the goals every day that you have in the business. It's not just about money, it's about impact. You're changing people's lives who would be spending $20,000, $30,000, maybe $40,000 on other care. You have the solution for them. Please deliver the solution at a price point that makes sense with the value that's there and the payment terms that work for all of you. There is no reason that people cannot sell 10 plans a month for $2,500 and make $25,000 in Cryoskin alone. There is no excuse.
Nancy's about to do that during a pandemic and a shutdown.
Yeah. And not only that, I went on Cryos. When I bought my machine in August, I was the 4th Cryoskin machine in the greater Sacramento area. There are now 10 Cryoskin in my area. But I'm not letting that bother me. I mean, that doesn't matter. But the old me, that would matter. That would scare me. Oh my gosh, I've got all this competition. But it doesn't matter.
That's a great point about market validation, right? Every single person on here, if you want to, I think we did the math, Karina and I did this at $2,500. It's about 14 patients a month enrolled in your programs. I think we'd have to double check the math. You really just need 14 people to sign up with you. You could have someone next door with a Cryoskin device. You need 14 people. Is not that crazy, right? And if you're reselling them and converting them from a $2,500 plan into a $5,000 plan by selling them twice as they get the results, the math ends up being there very, very quickly. I'm pretty sure that's right. Is 5,000 times 14 is like 70, I guess, right? $70,000, right? You get very close to $1 million business on 14. That's it. 14 new people a week that are going to do what you need in the business. Sorry, 14 a month in the business.
And set your goals. A lot of you could actually hit that just with ascensions. Like, it's not 14 new people every single month who walk in through your doors for the very first time ever. Like, Connor has a killer process for ascending people who are already on care plans for chiropractic care into sculpture. Alice Davis talks about hers. I think we've had a handful of other people. Cindy, she's still in the hospital, I believe. Actually, she got out and she's now hopping on these calls, but she's got a killer process for sending people from massage into 10 packs. Like, there are just so many ways, but I think Connor's message is to think bigger and be strategic when you backwards plan out what does it need to look like in terms of number of appointments that you need to get on the calendar every single week. Literally just boils down to how many appointments do you have on the calendar, which is why I personally love getting into the weeds on like sales and sales strategies on these calls. But the number one thing everybody needs to revamp is your culture around appointment setting. You will blow up as a business, even if you have a broken sales process, even if you have a broken ascension or upselling process, if you have the calendar, if you have the appointments on the calendar consistently. Connor, when he was working with Brett and myself on a call, like 3 months ago, Connor, we were like, our only issue right now is Geo just doesn't have enough appointments on the calendar. So we solved our appointment problem. So we're literally not being hypocritical. We take our own advice when we hop on these calls and say, revamp your approach to appointment setting. It's not a sexy silver bullet of, hey, hop on Zoom calls and use Connor's presentation. Revamping your culture is tough, but I promise that this will be the number one determinant of your ability to scale and blow up like crazy. even during a pandemic. Like people who are on our program right now are looking for excuses to pause and cop out. I'm going to ask them, did you watch Nancy's video where she, amongst 3 other Cryoskin competitors, this video just keeps getting better, Nancy. Thank you so much for today. This is amazing leverage for the offices who are really struggling, not leverage against them, but something that is going to be a tool and a boost for them. So I really appreciate you for coming on today. I would really love if you keep showing up for the next like week or so before Christmas, because I think a lot of people are now going to be wanting to understand, well, what the heck is Nancy doing that's different from what I'm doing? It's significant, but they're very small, simple shifts. I want you to have the last word. What do you think is a message that you wish other people would take to heart? Because you have it just about as tough as anybody can have it right now. You're in California that's being shut down by a governor, and literally 50% of the state hates that decision, and the other 50% of the state hates that decision too, but they're not vocal about it. You're in a shutdown. You have 3 competitors in your area, but
10.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. What's going on, Cryoskin in Sacramento?
9 other. So I'm the 10th.
What message would you like to share for the other offices who are struggling right now? And what do you wish that they would start doing differently?
Gosh, you know what? I'm a firm believer in your mind power. And I know that sounds trite, but it really comes down to your own belief and your own thought process. Last week when I sold one, I have to admit, when I put the $2,500 on my credit card, I'm like, I just need to sell one to pay for it, right? So when I sold one last week, I'm like, yeah, now everything else is gravy. So my goal on Sunday for this week was to sell 3. And I sold 3 of those Tuesday morning. And I was like, well, shoot, now what do I do the rest of this week? And then I went, like Connor was talking about, I was just playing way too small. And I stopped for a minute and I'm like, Nancy, you are the one that is always talking about mind power and the just enormous abilities that we have when we put our mind to it. So whatever that looks like for people, whether it's, I don't know, I know my methods for getting clear in my mind, but when you just have to believe that you have to believe in it. I wish I had better advice for people, but I know when I sold those 3 yesterday morning, I went, this is silly. I want to sell 6 this week. And then I went, oh my gosh, there's 2 more weeks in December. We haven't even hit January when everybody hates their body. And I'm probably going to sell 30,000 in January. So I should sell at least 20,000 by the end of the month. So all of a sudden my thought process went a lot bigger. So just set your mind to it, because whatever you believe is your reality, period.
I wish Nancy would, just drop the mic for him one time. Just, that looked good. That's amazing. And momentum begets momentum. That's why when we start these calls, we start them with wins so that you can see what other people are doing exceptionally well, doing at the highest level. And then know you are literally a 2-centimeter shift away from doing something similar. It's just, you need to have the fundamentals in place. Run the show me, don't tell me approach. That's 80% of the battle. Nancy doesn't have the opportunity to sell people on Zoom if she doesn't run the show me, don't tell me approach. She's killing it in her high level. I would love to be able, Steph is saying, hey, I do have another call. Hi, Diana. Diana, you're going to join the world of Cryoskin, right? I think you're actually going to be getting a machine, may or may not be sometime soon. Diana, you can feel free to take
very
it.
soon. Hopefully January, February, right after the holiday.
Nice. Yeah. Well, keep joining these calls because Nancy just sold 5 10-packs in the last 5 days, and she did it all virtually in California on Zoom. So Diana and Mama Sorkin are on the East Coast, Brooklyn and Staten Island. Smile Again Dental. Watch out for our next top Cryoskin performer out there. So appreciate everybody. We will wrap it up because Steph and Diana do have a scheduled call right now, and Diana just hopped on. So thank you, everybody. I am going to do my best to make sure that these recordings get uploaded to the Facebook group same day. I have been running into issues where Facebook, for whatever reason, just does not allow the post to render, meaning it doesn't upload properly. Stephanie says it's not even with Diana, but we love you, Diana. Okay. So please bear with us if we don't get the recordings uploaded. It's not due to our fault. Like, it's literally just because Facebook sometimes doesn't even allow us to make the post. So I really want to find a really simple way. If I do have to upload the recording to like Google Drive, just give you guys the link to click on, that works too. But people have been giving great feedback about just watching the video inline in Facebook. So with that, appreciate everybody. I'm going to try to get this recording put out ASAP. And I'm actually going to go live and try to recap some of my takeaways from this call and use screenshots that are whiting out or redding out any sensitive info. So Nancy, I will like screenshot some of the messages, but I'm going to completely remove people's first and last names. And I wrote down a couple of the people who you said came through and closed already. So I'll show the messaging sequence from those messages because a lot of people were asking. So
Okay.
I really hope, and this is just a plea to everybody, give us more than 30 freaking days. There are so many of you who joined the program in the last like 45 days and you all stopped or paused in the last 15. And I'm like, you didn't even give yourselves a shot. Like, this is my plea to you. Please be the person who decides to step up, lean into the challenge instead of knowing that it's December right now and everybody is looking for an excuse to pull back, to pull out, to relinquish control, to pass blame onto somebody else. Like, don't get upset with your advertising vendor. Don't get upset with COVID. Do what Nancy did. Take ownership for the situation, double down on what you can control, run the show me, don't tell me play, run it consistently, and I can guarantee that you will have better results than you would otherwise. But it's a two-way street. Like, we're here to be accountable and held accountable, but we also want to make sure everybody's doing their part. So with that, I'm posting the call recording in the group as soon as it renders within the next 1 to 2 hours, and we'll see everybody on Friday. Can we all take ourselves off mute and really thank Nancy? That was freaking amazing, and we'd definitely love to have you back on here Friday.
Great job, Nancy.
Thank you,
Yes.
Nancy.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nancy. And Nick and Connor and Corinne, everyone.
No,
Super
just
motivated.
Nancy. Just Nancy.
All right.
Literally Nancy and Steph. Nancy and Steph.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you all. That was a great call. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, we definitely need that inspiration during December of 2020. It's been a tough year. So appreciate everybody for staying on here. Thank you, Nancy. I'm going to reach out to you privately after this call. I'm going to leave, Steph, so the recording stops. Yeah, that's it. So you guys have a fantastic Wednesday, and we'll see you all on Friday.